Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us in Yalla Salesforce this morning. We will continue our journey with Yalla Salesforce Trail Mix. So over the last couple sessions, after we covered the foundation, back end, front end, and then we started to go back to basics, understanding what are the accounts, context, relationships, what is the sales cloud, service cloud. We discussed a lot of sales engagement, opportunity lifecycle, pipeline forecasting, and then we moved to the service cloud, which we covered like service console, entitlements, SLAs, omni-channel, service routing, and all of these great stuff. Today, we're going to take it to the next level of AI. So we keep hearing AI, Agentforce, so it's the time to dig deep into it, especially we hear feedback from people like just wrote the exam for Salesforce Associate. There are a couple questions coming from Agentforce. So it's our opportunity here to just, we gonna just scratch the surface for Agentforce, but the main purpose here is not to build any agents. It's the main purpose is to get familiarize yourself with the vocabulary. And when we mention different things that you keep hearing, grounding, LLMs, guardrails, instructions, actions, all of these great stuff, what it exactly means. So this is what we will try as much as possible to cover today, to just get familiar with the vocabulary for AI and Agentforce. All right, so let's jump into it. Here, this is a fundamental agent key components of the Agentforce. So we're gonna start in here saying agents are autonomous, proactive application designed to execute specialized tasks. So what that means and what are the autonomous means and what are the different types of AI. So we had before, like we delivered a session for AI specialist for the Cairo community, and we can utilize the same thing. Unfortunately, we didn't get the chance to like go through it here on the English side of the house, since this material now is no longer relevant because AI specialist content is changed, but we still have a great content in here to cover and set the ground for Agentforce. So we are starting from what are the different types of AI that is available. So we're starting here saying AI either can be a predictive or it can be generative. So predictive means in the traditional programming, we need, in order to solve a problem, we need to put input data and we need to put program together saying if something happened, do such and such. And then based on the input and the program will have an output. This is different than the machine learning and the AI. So machine learning is mainly chasing patterns. We are teaching the machine by giving them a lot of input and giving them this input led to that output. And with a lot of learning, they will find a pattern within this data. Accordingly, the output in here is going to be a program. So if you started to give the machine new input, based on the patterns and how the machine this learned and the output program, it's going to give you a prediction. This is going to happen. So this is the predictive. It's all about, I need to predict something. So we have lead scoring. We discussed it in the Sales Cloud session. What lead scoring means, based on this characteristics of this specific lead in this region, in this segment, in with all of this history and so on, if I have such a lead coming new, I need to know whether I'll be able to like convert that lead to be a customer or not. Based on my interaction with certain clients, sending them a lot of campaigns and just chasing the click through this email and so on. If I sent a new campaign, will they open the email or not? What will be the best time to send that email? And if it's 4 p.m., most probably they're going to open the email. But if I sent it like 8 p.m., they will not be opening it. So this is exactly what prediction means. We want to predict certain behavior or certain scoring based on the input data and based on all the history, which will lead us to understanding and predicting the outcome out of this. So this is the predictive. On the other side, generative AI. Generative AI came into the picture, and it's mainly focused on the natural language processing. It predicts as well what will be the next word. So natural language processing, it's just our human natural language. When it understands the semantic and the intention out of this word. So when I have those 3-4 words together, the fifth word will be XYZ. So this is the natural language processing. It understands and interprets and then responds using a natural language. Hey, Swati, thank you very much for joining. So we are discussing today what is the Agentforce and what is the vocabulary for the Agentforce. We are going through the Salesforce Associate, and one of the new modules that got added to the Salesforce Associate is the Agentforce. So today we are just covering all the vocabulary in order to get familiar with what this Agentforce is about. Thank you very, very much for joining. Right, so back in here. So we mentioned that the generative is based on the natural language processing. It's generative. When we talk about generative, it's mainly to generate a new content. It wasn't exist before. This content can be a language, a new paragraph, big text, email, and so on. It can be an image, it can be a video, it can be a piece of music, and so on. So it predicts the next incoming word based on the semantic of this statement, and so on. All right, so this is the generative AI. In order to generate and understand the natural language, we need to have a big model. We were talking about in the predictive, we have this machine learning. So scale it, pass for it millions of or billions of parameters, and then we have this message large language model. So when we send a human statement, they will be able to understand it and they will be able to respond. But there is a layer between understanding what's incoming and responding. And this is even when we are thinking about it from human behavior. When someone talks to you and before you respond, you do reasoning. Reasoning means understanding what's coming, split it, and then think about it, and then decide what should be the reaction, and then take the action. This is exactly what the large language model does. It's other than just understanding and responding, there is a reasoning piece in the middle which think and then decide what will be the action. So those are the components of the LLM, which we will be discussing later on. So back to the very first statement, which we were talking about, the AI or the agents are autonomous. What autonomous means? So we discussed that we started with the predictive. I want to give you a lead, and then you decide for me, give me a lead scoring to tell me whether we will be converting this lead or not. In the merchant side and in the storefront, someone is visiting my website. Well, can I engage and then I send them in order to make them client or not? Email campaign, will be able to go through and click the email and accept my offer and go through the campaign details or not? This is all the prediction. Generative, it's all about GPT. We will be giving you a natural language, and I'm expecting you to reason, respond, and action. This is the generative AI. Wave 3 is we are moving to multi-agent, augmenting our tasks. Every agent has his or her own task. We have certain instructions. We have purpose. So we have a role for this specific. We have a specific channel for that agent. And this is what autonomous agents started to show into the picture. And this is the Agentforce. We will have agents specialized in sales. We have agents specialized in service. We have agents specialized in e-commerce. We have agents on the custom agents just specialized for my company business, which can operate in certain hours within certain constraints in order to solve a specific business problem. This is what autonomous agents, a lot of agents helping me and helping my company to achieve a lot of business values for myself, for my clients, for my employees, and so on. And finally, the way for it, everything is artificial intelligence. Any questions so far of what we covered? Understand predictive, generative, autonomous, and all of these great stuff? Sounds perfect. Right. So let's get back in here. Agents are autonomous. We understand now what autonomous means. Proactive application designed to execute specialized tasks. Within this, being an autonomous agent, we just mentioned that they are specialized. I am agent specialized in sales cycle. There is an agent SDR, sales development trip, and its task is to go through all my leads, and based on the scoring, let's make the human agents focusing on the high score ones. However, as a human, I don't want to like engage with low probability leads coming with a very small score. So how about utilizing those agents to engage with those low score leads? Engage with them, send them email, and if they are available, we can schedule a call with them. And we have products we discussed in the sales cloud that like Einstein activity capture, which will be syncing the email with the Salesforce, so the agent will be able to, if they have the visibility for your calendar, they will be able to suggest what are the available slots. So all of that can happen with this specialized agent in the sales and lead engagement. How about I have another agent on the service side, and someone is coming to me asking question, and we saw it last time when we went to just help with Salesforce.com. You found in here Agentforce. You used before, back in the days, in order to engage with Salesforce, and you have a problem with the product, or you need something to discuss with an expert, you used to open a case with Salesforce. This is no longer should be the first channel for you, or this is what Salesforce is trying to push. Do not create a case. We will give you this Agentforce. Agentforce has access to all Salesforce help. They have access to all Salesforce knowledge articles. So rather than being engaged with a human agent, let's utilize our digital labor first. Let's go for Agentforce. Agentforce is going to go search, understand exactly what you are asking about, search, and then engage with you with the response. If you are happy, that's awesome. If you are not happy, we can escalate it. So I need to configure omni-channel, and this is gonna go search for all omni-channel related knowledge articles. It's gonna process your language and understand what you are looking for, and now just got your answer, and it will give you as well all the resources if you need extra, and so on. If you are not happy, or you have like specific one and you didn't get your answer, you still can escalate to a human agent and engage and open a case. And these are all the resources that help Einstein and Agentforce in order to get your response. All right, so to help employees and customers, agents use large language models, LLMs, to analyze, understand the full context of customer interaction or an automated trigger, then reason through decisions on next steps autonomously. So this is what we covered so far. Any questions? It's a very small paragraph, but I believe it has a lot of pieces and the vocabulary that we need to master in order to be able to understand this Agentforce concept. All right. So these agents generate responses that are consistent with your company brand voice and guidelines using the trusted business data. So let's split this statement into two pieces. First, company's brand voice. If you are like, let's say I am a company that selling kids toys, the brand voice will be different than if I am a company, if I'm a government and I need to like respond to you like formally. So you can specify the brand voice and the brand tone, how you respond to any question, incoming question, and so on. So you need to make sure that these agents follow your brand voice. And in the same time, it should be guidelines using the trusted business data. We don't want to allow hallucination in here. So in order, if someone is asking about a specific order in an e-commerce website or a portal that I built, a storefront, and I want to ask for a specific order, I don't want to just respond. I need to respond within the context for this specific customer, for this specific order. Same thing for the cases, same thing for anything that whatever business scenario we are talking about, we need to be responding not just to generic answers, we need to be very specific. How can we allow Agentforce to respond with a real accurate business data? This is what we name it grounding. We need to ground those prompt or responses coming from those agents to be based on the data in your CRM. So Agentforce is built on Salesforce. Accordingly, we have access to, if we are in a sales context, have access to all the accounts, contacts, opportunities, leads, all of that we have access to when we give them the right permission. If we are in the service side, we have access to the cases and all the history and the knowledge articles and so on. But how about this data is not in the CRM? This data exists in the ERP or in the website logs or in API logs or in a server logs or anything or anywhere. So how can we bring this data to be accessible for Agentforce? Now Data Cloud come into the picture. So let's get an introduction for what is Data Cloud is. So Data Cloud is, we need to bring this data from different data sources. We have data in, we can be even a multi-org. We have this 5 orgs within our organization. We need to bring all of this data together. We might have data in sales, we have data in service, we have data in marketing, e-commerce, and we have a lot of other ERP, and we have a website and all of these great stuff. So we have a lot of data sources, including even GCP, Azure, all of these things. And we need to have connectors in order to connect it to those different data sources and then ingest this data into Data Cloud. So it starts from the extraction part. We have 2 different ways of extraction from data sources. Either it can be a batch, and when we say batch, that means we have a scheduled job that will go on a nightly basis every 5 hours to get the data and then push it to our data model. Or streaming. Streaming means we are capturing the data in near real time. Someone using our app and we detected the location and he or she is approaching our store, or someone accessed our website and they have navigating, we identified who is he or she, and she is navigating through our website, and we need to know now that they started to engage with our website. So we need to approach them directly. So all of these can happen through those different connectors. MuleSoft is a technology which allow you to develop and manage APIs with a lot of connectors across different platforms. And once you do that, you capture the data. So you got this data either in batch mode or in near real-time mode. Then what happened after you got this piece of information? Every data source has its own schema, has its own data structure. We need to transform this data in order to push it in one big customer 360 data model. So we need to transform this data in order to harmonize it and put it in this customer 360 data model. We need to have a canonical data model regardless where the data is coming from. We need to standardize it to put it in one place. So we put it here in one place. And then once we put it in one place, we need to know that BASM came from this channel and that channel and this channel. But in order to get this customer 360 view, we need to unify, we need to match all of this data coming from these different data sources and identify that this BASM, 3 BASMs is just one BASM. So we are harmonizing and we unify it in one customer graph, data graph, showing us BASM is one version of this BASM. Once I unified and I built this customer 360 view, I need to do predictions. Now I have all the data that will allow me to do the predictions. I will be able to do segmentation. I will be able to calculate insights. I will be able to do the analysis. And then after I do that, I can enrich back the CRM. I can take an action and engage them with a journey. I send them an email message. I can run flows. I can do all whatever I need to do. So this is Data Cloud. Data Cloud as well, on the top of handling structured data, because all what we like the examples we discussed so far, it seems that the data are coming either structured, means it's in a table. It's think about structured data like an Excel sheet. You have columns and you have rows. So this is structured data. Semi-structured data like JSON, you will, or XML, you will find that I have an account and then I have an array and I have this object and so on. So it's a semi-structured data. You still can parse this data and it has its own structure, but it's not like a straightforward table, but still it's a semi-structured data. Unstructured data, it's like a video call. So exactly like what we have in here, and then we take the transcript and change this natural language and do the processing and then put the transcript together. And then we can summarize this transcript. This is unstructured data. It can be a video call, it can be a PDF, it can be a knowledge article, it can be anything. So Data Cloud allow all of these different type of structured, semi-structured, unstructured data. So far, so good. Just a sneak peek about Data Cloud. Perfect. So we talked about the brand voice, and then we are talking about trusted business data, including CRM data and external data in Data Cloud. So we understand now what are the different data sources can be for that agent. These agents are capable of operating 24/7 across various platforms like self-serve portals and messaging channels. So we just mentioned that within those autonomous agents, we can make them available through a channel. We discussed in the Service Cloud, and we have the option for Experience Cloud. We built our own portal, and then we can enable something like Meow, message in app, web, and there is a module for it. As we discussed, we can hook this Meow into Agentforce. So Agentforce, exactly like this one. Ask Agentforce. You will find this in web messaging channel. You can just write and start engaging with this Agentforce. They can be available 24/7. And as well, it can be through your mobile app. You can have as well like an API integration with Agentforce if you have your custom web portal and so on. These agents are capable to operate in 24 hours by 7 and across different channels. Handling tasks proactively. We just mentioned that the SDR will not wait until this lead is no longer interested. This lead we captured, we have all the details, we can start to proactively engage with them. Set the guardrails. We don't want to open the entire org and let those agents do whatever they want. We need to make sure that they are following our policies. They have a clear roles and responsibilities in order to operate. So we need to make sure that we have those guardrails which will limit the capabilities and the actions that this specific agent can do. When faced with complex issue beyond their scope, we just mentioned that I'll keep engaging with this specific agent until we reach to a point. No, it's the time to escalate for a human agent. This as well you can define. They can escalate the matter to a human agent, ensuring that queries are resolved efficiently and accurately. So far, so good. Perfect. All right. So the agent out of the box are easy to customize and deploy with clicks, not code. They can be set up in minutes and they are very scalable. So we mentioned that we have two different types of either standard agents, which Salesforce already putting all the right actions and topics, and they put the instructions for engagement, they build some prompts and so on. Those are the standard agents. and we have a bunch of them in the sales and service, and we're going to discuss. Or they can be a custom ones, which you define it yourself. You define your own topics, your own instructions, your own actions, and so on. All right, so let's jump to what are those agents. So service agents replace traditional chatbots with AI that can handle a wide range of service issues without pre-programmed scenarios. We discussed it before in the Service Cloud session that back in the days, we used to have those chatbots. Chatbots, you are saying, those are your 5 options, choose one. And when I click one, go for this, give those other 3 options. And then when you do this, do that, do this, do that. So it's like pre-programmed scenarios. And when you go out of all of these, you always have the, no, other, I didn't get my answer, escalate me. So you need to think of all possible scenarios in order to make this a chatbot efficient. But now with the service agent in here, in the era of the generative AI and LLMs, no, we don't need to pre-program things. We need to put instructions in order to make it like matching of what you are expecting. We need to put guardrails, so we will be within the limit that we are putting for this specific agent, but all the interactions back and forth is managed and reasoned, and we might have scenarios and so on, which will be managed. So service agent replace the traditional chatbot, which is pre-programmed, and improving customer service efficiency. And this is what we just saw in here. This is Agentforce grounded within those knowledge articles for Salesforce and taking all the right actions. Sales Development Trip, SDR. And there are new Trailhead modules for every one of those. So if you just search for Sales Development Trip, and this will take you through the Agent Blazer new statuses, you will find all of these modules now part of it in order to achieve these new statuses. So this development trip, engage with prospects. We have prospects we captured. We mentioned that before, that we have all of these business cards, part of the trade show we just had, and we need to engage with them. So engage with those prospects 24/7, exchanging emails and replying, and then booking calendars and so on, answering questions, managing objective and scheduling meeting based on CRM and external data, allowing your seller to focus on building deeper customer relationship. So rather than like try to engage with very early stages customer, which they might be converted or not, delegate this task to your SDR agent, and you focus on existing customer, focusing on new customer that the probability and the score is very high, which the probability to convert them to customers. So you can divide and conquer. These set of leads will go for this SDR agent. However, I'll be focusing on those ones. So you'll be more effective with your time. Sales coaching. Provide personalized role play session for your sales team. So before you go for a sales pitch, new sales pitch, you want to like brainstorm with your manager, set different scenarios, what happened, what if happened, and then we rehearse in order to align how can we close that deal. Same thing while you are in the call with the customer, you need an assistant that give you some next step in order to be able to close. So this is what sales coach is. It's like we'll see the video in here, which will cover it. So even we can come to it once we finish this one, so we can start visualizing what the sales coach is about. So personalized role play sessions for your sales team using Salesforce data and generative AI to help seller practice pitches and objections tailored to specific deals. So let's open this one in here to just navigate what are those. So we have different industries. Every industry has its own problem statements that they are trying to fix and solve. So in here within the sales, we have lead management, we have coaching, we have scheduling. Within the healthcare, we have billing questions, appointment scheduling. Within the commerce, we have product recommendations, and we have inventory management. So we have different problem statements for every industry. All what we are trying to do, give you an accelerator for those Agentforce, which will give you a solution for your different problem statements. And then this is a portal to self-serve, and then you have meow in here, and then you start engaging exactly like what we did with Trailhead in here. So you start to engage with this agent, and then you get your response. Same thing for the SDR, which we were just talking about, that I have all of these leads, everyone has its own scoring, and then I start to engage through them, and then exchange emails, and then you have, with the Einstein activity capture, you have all the calendar, and you have visibility for it, so you can start scheduling those calls. Sales coaching. So now you have this sales coach happening in here, and they understand and transcript and give you some suggestion in order to get this deal closed. And even you can rehearse before it. Here we were discussing that we have two different types. So we have all of these standard agents, and you can still build your agent from scratch. So we are until this point. And then we have merchandiser, assist your e-commerce. So you are building this e-commerce website, and you need to put a goal, you need to put personalized promotions, you are building your product catalog, and you need to fill all of these descriptions, and you have a product and sub products, and you have different size, variety of size and variety of colors, and all of these things. So merchandiser can help you to set up your e-commerce and do this personalized promotions. Buyer agent enhances the B2B buying experience. It's from the buyer side of the house for engaging, helping your buyers find the product, make a purchase, and track orders, all of that through chat with your Agentforce. Personal shopper act as a digital concierge on e-commerce site or messaging apps, offering personalized product recommendations. Campaign optimizer automate the full campaign lifecycle using AI to analyze, generate, personalize, optimize marketing campaign based on business goals. And finally, Agentforce, where you can support employees in the flow of their work. So we are within a certain process. So you can engage, you can send an email, you can summarize records, you can take an action, all of that within the same flow of work, all of that within your CRM and external data coming through the data cloud. Support employees in the flow of their work with specific tasks by searching for data, creating action plan, and execute in order to increase workplace efficiency. So let's continue this video together. So in here, SDR agent, sales coach, service agent, or you can create from scratch. And when you create from scratch, exactly like when you have a new hire, you want to set a role for this specific agent. You cannot just, any new hire cannot do everything. So you need to make sure to document. So everything we used to do before in the development lifecycle, we used to translate everything to be, how can I develop it? How I code it? Now you need to translate whatever is coming as a requirement to be natural language. And if you can explain it in human language, now you can configure this agent. So all what you need to do in here, put a clear English or whatever future language this is going to be supporting, put a clear descriptive agent role, and then it will do the magic and start finding what are the most related topics, which topics are like, think about it as folders or buckets of actions that will solve a specific business problem. So once you put this agent role, Agentforce guided setup will help you and recommend for you what are the most matching agent topics that can help you in here. So once we hit next in here we are thinking, all right, so this can do order management and this can do schedule management. Do you want to include those ones? And you can also add new topics which you define. Right, so you have the option in here to select, and you have those add new topic. And once we done that, we have now the agent, and every topic has its own action. So let's jump to an org and see it in like very quick. There is a lot of modules now, and even part of TDX, they announced that you can register for your own developer box, which has Data Cloud and Agentforce. But even within Trailhead, you can register for those 4 days org, which you can play. So it started from Einstein setup, And from Einstein setup, and from Einstein setup, you enable everything related to generative AI from prompts, and then you will go for the agents to enable it as well, and then you have a bunch of permission sets that you need to assign it in order to play with it. All right, so in here you turn on the Einstein, and then you go for the agent, and here you will find the agents. You need to enable Agentforce as well. So you enable this Agentforce, and then you have those ones which are standard, and then you can as well create new agent. But I just want to show you what are those topics. So in here, you define what will be this agent, and then when we engage with this agent, how we start, and then you put here the language and what will be the tone. So this is what we just discussed, the tone, and then you can open it in a builder. This will open for you Agentforce Builder. And we just mentioned topics. So when you click topic in here, you will find what this topic is about, what is the scope for this, and what are the instructions when the customer do such and such, and do not do that, and so on. So it gives you all the instructions. We want to engage rather than sending them in bullet points, send them as a table. And then when the customer ask about this thing, use this specific action in order to deal with it. So you start adding instruction after instruction and optimizing. And again, if you can explain it, just write it and guide this agent. All right. So, and then this is the topic we are dealing with. And then what is inside what this topic? So I identified when I engage with the agent and determine which topic that have a solution for your problem statement, and then you need to take an action. You need to get records, you need to deal with it, you need to look over things, and you need to create a case. All of that happening within this topic. So within this topic, you have this topic actions. So those are the different actions. Some of them can be a standard action, some of them can be a custom actions using the flows, prompt temps, and Apex, and all of these great stuff. Even calling a MuleSoft API and retrieving data, all of these great stuff. So you will have in here. Plus, they just announced it as well, Agent Exchange. It's like an app exchange, which is the app exchange, which is we used to install apps within the Salesforce CRM domain. Now we have Agent Exchange as well to support you in here. All right. So those are the topics and the actions within topics. All right. So what if this topic is not enough? You can create new topic and start putting all your instructions and the actions and so on. So we just wanted to visualize those actions and topics and all of these good stuff. Any questions so far? So far, so good? Lovely. Key components of an agent. Each agent has parameters that define the job it can do and the action it can take. So first, start from the role. And this is what we just explained. We just need to put a role, and based on that role, it will define what will be the goal and the border and boundary for this specific agent. And it is going to recommend for you certain topics and actions. So an agent purpose, this defines the job to be done and the broader goals and the agent should achieve on your team. Knowledge. Part of this agent, we need to enrich it with data. This can happen through those actions we were talking about in here. This can query and get records and identify the object and all of these things. But as well can be through knowledge. This knowledge either can be a knowledge article, or so you define something called the data library. And within this data library, you can either talk about knowledge in here, go to the knowledge and identify what will be the input and the answer and so on. Or you can even upload your file, which you have a PDF document and you want to enrich this agent with this specific file. So this can be as well possible. The data an agent need to be successful. This could include company knowledge articles, CRM data, external data coming from data cloud, public website, and even you can upload your own files. Action. The goal an agent can fulfill. This is predefined tasks an agent can execute to do its job. based on a trigger or instructions. The trigger can be you went to in here and you start to engage, and then based on the instruction determine that you need to execute this specific action. And this action, as we mentioned, it can be in here. So it's exactly like what we were discussing, one of those actions. So we identified that this is the right topic based on the scope, and then based on the instructions we identified that this will be the exact action that I will need to be executing. And this can be anything, as we just mentioned. It can be an apex, it can be a flow, it can be anything. All right, so for example, it could be a flow from temp or apex. Guardrails. The guardrails an agent can operate under. These can be a natural language instruction telling the agent what it can and cannot do, when to escalate to a human, or could come from built-in security features in the Einstein trust layer. So just to give you what trust layer means, I believe we covered it as well in here somewhere. Yeah, so this was the Einstein trust layer. In order to engage with those LLMs, which are beyond like the Salesforce CRM, your instance boundary, we go send them instructions outside for those LLMs, and then we retrieve the response back to give you back the response. How can we make sure that when we send this information with all of our private confidential customer data, that this will not go publicly for those LLMs? That's why Salesforce built this amazing Einstein trust layer to secure your data and to do toxicity detection and do data masking and demasking and so on. So you secure data retrieval. This is what we were talking about. I need to get company data coming through the CRM data cloud, and all of these things. Do the dynamic grounding. That means like injecting all of this data within the prompt, and then do data masking. Whatever is PII data or it's a confidential data, we need to do the masking, put the guardrails, send it securely without any private company data, get the response, do toxicity detection and language, like scan what is the content, and then do the data demasking, revert it back. So whatever we masked, we need to revert it back, and then do all the auditing, and then return it to the Salesforce app initiated this conversation. So this is one, when we mention the Einstein trust layer, this is high level what is the Einstein trust layer. Channels, the application where an agent get work done. This can be your website, CRM, mobile apps, Slack, and so on. All right. Any questions? So far, so good? Lovely. Right. Agentforce reasoning engine, the brain of an agent. The Agentforce reasoning engine is designed to enhance user interaction through faster, more capable, and more multi-turn conversations. So we just mentioned that in the beginning, we said we have LLM, large language model, and it's mainly to understand your natural language and do the reasoning, and then respond with another natural language or action. So multi-turn chat, the reasoning engine facilitates interactive communication with users by considering and adapting to add conversational context, enhancing the accuracy of service provided. So we can maneuver within this chat and do the reasoning and respond and then take the action, all of these great stuff. Topic classification, the reasoning engine. So when I send a question for Agentforce, they need to detect which topic will have the right actions to respond to this specific. So the reasoning happening, and the part of this reasoning to identify which topic is matching what you are asking for. So the reasoning engine classifies user occurrences into topics based on predefined descriptions, ensuring relevant responses. Instructions and actions. Each topic includes specific instructions and actions, such as verifying order details or obtaining further information to assist the user. All right. Then comes into the knowledge retrieval, or RAG, retrieval, augmentation, generation. This is what we were saying. While we are configuring the prompt template, or I need to respond to certain question. I need to retrieve the knowledge. I need to get this piece of information from a knowledge article. I need to get this from the file I just uploaded. So this is solved by like vector databases and understand the semantic and so on in order to get for you the most relevant piece of information for that question. So the reasoning engine use multiple techniques, including advanced retrieval augmentation generation, which selectively use multiple language models to iteratively refine the quality of queries, retrieving the most relevant knowledge chunk. So it takes this big knowledge article or this big file, and then it started to make it to smaller chunks and put vectors and vectorize it and so on in order to give you the right response to your question. Searchable public data. We just discussed that I can provide answers from my CRM data, from my data cloud, from all of these knowledge articles and so on, but you can have access as well to public data. Agentforce can now securely access public data through Einstein Trust Layer, expanding its knowledge base. All right, how an agent takes an action. Agent take an action and adhere to guardrails using natural language descriptions that outline the tasks and the operational boundaries. Here are the samples. The agent first receive a trigger. The trigger can be as easy as that. I have a chat within my portal. The agent first receive a trigger, which can be a conversation with an employee or a customer, a change in the data. We can just as well trigger all of this cycle based on something changed, or an automation. The agent used the LLM, large language model, and we are all experts now what large language is, and natural language description to identify the context and select the topic that best fit the job to be done, including the scope, data required, and necessary conditions. Depending on the task, an agent select a chain of actions, as we just said in here. I need first to identify the record by name, and then I need to update the record, or I need to answer the question from a knowledge. So series of actions need to be chained together in order to respond to this inquiry. Depending on the task, the agent select a chain of actions. Choose actions are executed via flow, Apex, APIs, or direct prompt. Agent dynamically plan and execute tasks while strictly following predefined guardrails. They also have built-in mechanisms for harm and toxicity detection using Einstein Trust Layer, which we just covered, ensuring they avoid engaging in inappropriate or harmful activity. Now you know a little about agent, which is way more than enough you need for Salesforce Associate. Any questions so far? All good? All right, thank you. Right, if everything is good, let's jump to the quiz. What is a topic classification? A type of large language model, a group of user occurrences based on predefined descriptions, a subset of company brand voice and guidelines pulled from trusted business data, a sublayer of Einstein Trust Layer. All right, I will say let's go for B. Which of these can serve as guardrails for agent? A list of triggers for conversation, natural language instruction telling the agent what it can and what it cannot do, built-in security features in Einstein Trust Layer. I will say it's B and C. Woohoo! We made Agentforce Key Components together. If no questions, thank you very much for your time and wish to see you next session. Have a great day. Bye-bye.